Biden's fake border fix. That's exactly what we're dealing with. So President Joe Biden, man, I hate saying the P word. Joe Biden announced today that he was going to sign, actually, he did sign an executive order that was supposedly or allegedly going to stem the tide when it comes to illegal immigration at the border. It's not going to do anything of the sort. By the way, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. This is the first time that we are broadcasting live on YouTube. So I hope that you will subscribe and like and share this podcast with as many of your friends and neighbors and family members as possible, especially leading up to the election. When it comes to this show, I like to do, I obviously I'm a Christian conservative. Well, you don't know. You may not know that if you're watching live for the first time, but I'm a Christian conservative American that happens to be black in that particular order. And I have a biblical worldview. I'm also a constitutional conservative. Doesn't mean that I get everything right, but it means that I revert back to the Constitution. Yes, I do believe that America is an exceptional nation, and I don't want to see it destroyed. And I believe the Biden administration is destroying it. I want to get into illegal immigration and what that is doing. The Biden administration, again, he's signing an executive order today that supposedly is going to stem the tide or end the border crisis or deter illegals from breaking into our country. And nothing could be further from the truth. This guy is a gaslighter. This guy is a complete and utter liar. All right. It's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, the ACLU, and I believe it's in coordination with the Biden administration, has come out and already said they're going to be filing a lawsuit in order to stop this nonsense. So Biden is going to be able to say, well, listen, I tried. The ACLU came after me. He's already saying that the border crisis is Trump's fault, despite the fact that Trump got the border under control his last couple of years in office, the southern border under control. And then immediately upon Joe Biden taking office, he signed 94 executive actions to dismiss or to remove all of Trump's executive orders that were taken to end the border crisis during Trump's administration. And of course, it wasn't near as bad to the level that that exists now. And we all know that this is by design. All right, so I just want you to understand. Let me give you some of the details. I have some articles here from Daily Wire and another from that I just lost, by the way. Another from a New York Post, and I'm going to try to find the one from New York Post because I really enjoyed that one most. That was by, oh, good Lord, man. All right. So basically, here's what's going to happen. All right. And forgive me because this is live and this is our first time going live. This takes a lot more work than I realized it. Normally, I sit in, I used to do local radio here with the Salem Radio Network in Orlando. Now I'm still with Salem, but I sit in now for the Officer Tatum when I'm called to do so, Dennis Prager when I'm called to do so, Mike Gallagher when I'm called to do so. So I'm a fill-in host for those nationally syndicated hosts, those great talents at Salem. All right, so basically nothing is going to change on the border. That's what you have to understand. This is all gaslighting. If Biden wanted to do anything on the border, he would have done it a long time ago. He could have, the executive order that he signed today, he could have signed a long time ago. But again, this executive order is absolutely going to do nothing when it comes to the border crisis. You're still going to have what's going to happen is this is according to the Daily Wire. All right, so this is supposed to stem illegal aliens from overrunning our border. Basically, the executive order will temporarily shut down asylum requests once the average number of daily encounters tops 2,500 between official ports of entry. So that's between official ports of entry. Now, that isn't the people that are coming to the official ports of entry and literally turning themselves in because they know that they're going to be granted amnesty for the most part. 350,000 just granted amnesty by the Biden administration yesterday. And honestly, quite a lot more, man. You got at least 3.5 million on a backlog tied up in the court system. I hate to say it, but I've just got to be real with you guys. The Biden administration and Democrats don't plan on these people going anywhere. Even if Trump plans to mass deport, Lord willing, he does get in, there's going to be a lot of illegal aliens that are going to be able to remain in the country. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt. You're not going to get that from the Carl Jackson show. That's just how I roll. I'm going to be completely straight with you. I believe in a government that is of, for, and by we, the people. And that's what I fight for. I don't get caught up in personalities, although I love Trump. I love what DeSantis brings to the table right now, though. I consider this is a fight. We are in I believe an existential fight for the United States of America when it comes to the assault from the Biden administration. And I'm focusing on the borders right now. But when it comes to the DOJ, I'll get into that tomorrow. The DOJ and all of the Trump persecution that is going on. There's a reason why Trump, thank God, has been able to raise $300 million. I like what he did today. I should have got that. I was looking for that audio, Gabe, and that's the audio that I couldn't find. But Trump came out immediately. After Biden mentioned that he did this, or after Biden signed the executive order. He blamed Trump, he blamed Republicans, so on, et cetera, said he wanted legislation, but he had to do it this way. After, for years, he said he couldn't stem the tide at the border through executive action, and then he does just that. The guy is a fake. The guy is a phony. The guy sticks his finger up in the wind to see where it's blowing, to see where, see where the popular notions of the left are. And he's a complete and utter disaster. And I hope that you guys, all of us, will kick him out of office and all of his colleagues, or as many of his colleagues, out of office as possible. This is going to be extremely important. But Trump came out right away and addressed the border crisis, which I thought was brilliant on Trump's part, because he's going to have to transition from the DOJ persecution, which is very important. This is the reason why he raised $300 million. I donated, by the way. I'm sick and tired of the deep state trying to run this country. I'm sick and tired. I believe that Jill Biden has a large part to play in running the country. I believe that if anybody is going to pardon Hunter Biden, it is going to be Jill Biden. It is going to be Jill Biden. I think she plays a larger role in the administration that a lot of people want to believe. I believe that, I don't know, Woodrow Wilson's wife, the racist that was president at the turn of the 20th century. But she was running the White House while he was in dire straits health-wise. I believe the same is true with Joe Biden. Anybody looking at Joe Biden that's an honest, decent person will admit that they're looking at a dementia patient. And if they don't, then they're honestly, they're just not honest people. They're not honest brokers. All right. So anyway, so 2,500 people is basically what's going to happen. They can come between the official ports of entry, and then if more than 2,500 people come in between the ports of entry, not including the ports of entry. I got it wrong. I did a short earlier today, and guys, I'm going to ask you to follow me on all things social media. I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on True Social, I'm on Getter. Wherever I am at the Carl Jackson Show or at Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find me. But I talked about how this would essentially allow nearly 1 million illegals into the country that are breaking into our country. This executive order will continue to allow these illegal aliens into the country, approximately 1 million a year. But it's even worse than that, because this doesn't even touch the people that are coming through the port of entry and just simply surrendering themselves to the border security or CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. They're just surrendering themselves because they know that the Biden administration is going to let them in. And I want you to understand that you are being replaced. It's not replacement theory. This is replacement fact. You are being replaced. What the Biden administration wants to do is to replace you with a bunch of illegals that are going to be a permanent underclass for the Democrat Party. You see, the Democrat Party, I say this time and time again, this is nothing new for those of you that have listened to me before. The Democrat Party is successful when you are unsuccessful. It's different for the Republican Party. They're successful when you're successful. But when you're not successful, that's exactly what the Democrat Party wants. Why do you think the Black community is just as in bad a shape, if not worse shape, than we were during the, after LBJ signed, this war on poverty, or took on this war on poverty, the Great Society, right? Nothing great about it. Nothing great about it. Things got worse for the Black community, more poverty, more broken homes, fatherless homes, more incarceration, right? But successful for Democrats, right? Because now, if the Republican Party does anything, the Republican Party that freed, that signed with Abraham Lincoln, signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the slaves, the Republican Party that fought back against the KKK, signing the Anti-KKK Act, that Republican Party has always been a party that wants every ethnicity, every American to be successful. All right. It is that simple. I'm not saying that America's history is pretty. I mean, it's dirty, it's evil, but quite frankly, slavery existed all over the world, and it still exists today. But you have to understand that what the Biden administration is trying to do is, it's an existential threat to America as we know it. Our society is going to completely change. Our culture is going to completely change. You have a Democrat Party, and frankly, even many in the Republican Party, that are telling women, hey, you know what? Go out and don't have children, abort your children. And meanwhile, illegal aliens will come into the country and they'll plop a child out because they want to take advantage of the welfare system. They want to make sure that they get to stay in the United States of America. So while you're not having babies and, women's freedom and all this kind of crap, you got illegal aliens. I'm sure you got terrorists that are coming into this country to pop, trying to pop babies out to take over, just like Muslims have done in Europe. I mean, it's just absolutely fascinating. 2,500 people. That number alone represents just over 910,000. I believe it's something like 912,000 illegal aliens that Biden is saying, hey, you can lawfully come. That does not include, listen to me, that does not include legal immigration. Legal. We get nearly, we have approximately 1 million legal immigrants that enter the country every single year. But now, Biden wants to codify into law nearly 2 million illegal aliens per year. It's absolutely astonishing. We have a couple of video regarding the border. I forget which ones. I know Bill Malugin of Fox News was commenting on one. And then we have another. Guys, forgive me, because this is basically I'm having to do more leg work with video than I do on radio. With Gabe, and so we're a little ghetto fabulous tonight, so please offer us some grace. But Gabe, just go ahead, let's roll what you have. I will comment on the videos that are related to the border crisis.
To live their lives, so they feel pressured to get vaccinated. Can we run the audio clip on that?
So this is Fauci. We'll get to that video later. We'll come back to it, but we have Bill Malugin, on the border.
Deportation numbers are significantly lower than what the Trump administrations were. And keep in mind, only a fraction of people came in under Trump that what we're seeing now. And one last point to make. Both President Biden and DHS Secretary Mayorkas have said multiple times that they believe just being in the United States illegally should not be grounds alone for being deported. It would be interesting to hear some reporters ask them, do they still stand behind that? Because how is that not a come on in sign,
All right, so you had numbers that were, hey, Billy. Hello, Billy. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so you had numbers under Trump that were significantly lower. Deportations and all that kind of good stuff were higher under Trump. I mean, under the Biden administration, this is absolutely insane. People don't tend to... The ramifications of illegal immigration is so severe. If illegals continue to come into the United States at the pace in which they're being allowed to enter right now, there's no way this country survives. That's how crucial it is. Again, I love the fact that Trump was able today to pivot and go back to the border. These are going to be the issues that are going to sway the independent voters. I love the fact that he's been able to raise $300 million. That $300 million is going to help secure the base. The base is now united behind former President Donald Trump again. Some independents are starting to turn his way. I think people are seeing the persecution of this man, and they're sick and tired of this deep state that is trying to run this country, which is absolutely insane and frustrating. We'll get into Fauci in just a second here. But the borders, the economy, crime, COVID. These people have to pay the price. These people have to pay the price. We've got to win in November. We have no choice. And quite frankly, we need to be looking around at all of our local, and for everything from sheriff to county commissioners to mayors. We need to be state and, state reps, state senators. We need to be looking at all of these races. If you say you're MAGA and all you're doing is worried about the presidential election, you're not going to save the country. You should be making your city, your community even more red. You need to be involved in primaries. When it comes to primaries, Republicans and Christians and conservatives absolutely suck when it comes to that. So we should be trying to vote for better candidates, and we're just simply not doing that. But let me tell you something. Do not believe Joe Biden when it comes to this border crisis. I want you to think about the practical implication. You're bringing in people illegally that are breaking the law. They're not assimilating into the country, right? When you come to the country legally, these people learn the Constitution. They know the Constitution better than many Americans, if not most, I dare say. But these people that are breaking into the country, they're bringing drugs. Trump said it earlier, and it's absolutely true. Some of these countries in Southern America are just emptying out their jails, their mental institutions. It's the worst of the worst for people that are going to be dependent. Not all of them, perhaps not even the majority of them, but enough of them to change the culture in the United States of America. You see what's happening in our blue cities. You see what's happening in New York. You see what's happening in Chicago. You see how they're already crime ridden because Democrats are running them. And now they're bringing in illegal immigrants that don't give a flip about law and order. And why would they? Why would they give a flip about law and order when they've been able to break into the country? And we've rewarded them for doing that, giving them welfare checks. But just consider that. It changes the culture. No assimilation. Rent goes up. Rent goes up. It's absolutely insane. Just think about this. Consider your kids going to school. And then again, we're talking about Joe Biden's fake border fix. It isn't a border fix whatsoever. Joe Biden's executive order would essentially do what he wanted to do legislatively, and that is codify nearly 2 million illegal aliens being able to bust into our country every single year. So 2,500 people between the official ports of entry would still be able to enter the country on a daily basis. Guys, that's nearly 1 million people right there. And that's just the people that are coming in between the ports of entry that they're able to catch. What about the gotaways? What about the people that are coming through the ports of entry that are just surrendering themselves? It's absolutely amazing what this guy is doing to the country and just gaslighting us, lying about it. And then the ACLU, there's no doubt the ACLU. Give me a break. Let me see if I see a headline on this. The ACLU threatening to sue the Biden administration over this. Of course, they're going to sue. I have to give attribution here. I first heard Eric Erickson. I tuned into him briefly today, and I heard him talk about, listen, I told you the ACLU or someone like that, some type of lawfare or some type of, whatever law firm would chime in on this. That's exactly what the ACLU did, probably in coordination or cahoots with the Biden administration. This is absolutely a joke. So Biden could say they'll fight it. Nothing's going to change before the election. This is simply for Biden to look good. But Biden did something too. He's admitting that his policy sucked. He's admitting that Trump was right on the border, that he's wrong on the border. He's admitting, quite frankly, that even his predecessor or his former boss, Barack Obama, who was an open borders guy too, if we're being honest, not to the severity that Joe Biden is. But remember, it was former Obama Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson that said, listen, it's a crisis. 1,000 apprehensions at the border in a day was a bad number that overwhelms the system. That's 1,000. Joe Biden is talking about 2,500 just between the ports of entry, not the gotaways and not the ones that are coming into the port of entry. So again, all this guy is doing is trying to sign an executive order that literally codifies this stuff, illegal immigration, into law. All right, so we've got another video that we like to roll for you regarding the border. Let's go ahead and roll it. Por favor, Gabe. And Gabe is my man behind the video, so just so you know. But Biden announces his sweeping executive action on immigration. CNN is trying to act as if they are a credible media institution with this gentleman in his screen. And frankly, I've actually enjoyed this. I can't even lie. But I think this guy is sending off a warning shot to Democrats. Every time I see this, and CNN is acting like this and trying to give correct information, I think they're trying to tell Democrats, beware, beware, beware. Flashing lights, this is going to get us in trouble. Hey, you know what? Let me do this. Before we go on with this, guys, can I talk to you real quick? Listen, first off, I thank you for joining the podcast today. I thank you for joining live. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. Like and share the podcast. Tell your friends to subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast, to like the podcast. We're trying to get the word out. This is the Carl Jackson Show. I'm with the Salem Podcast Network. I'm also a fill-in host for Dennis Prager, the Officer Tatum, and Mike Gallagher when they call me to fill in for them. So you guys will hear me on nationally syndicated radio at times. But we've been doing a podcast for a couple of years now. We want more people to know about the podcast. So we've decided to go live and hopefully and trust that hopefully if we put out a good product for you, that you'll go ahead and share the podcast. But we also can't do it without our sponsors. So I do want to talk to you about a couple of them. One is Wealth Protection Research. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred, and that is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and our security. This is where Wealth Protection Research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silence. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. All right, this free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act now. Text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 Election Protection Report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy. And also, if you text the word ideas today, you'll get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research that is sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. All right, now getting back to the topic at hand, we're talking about Biden's fake border fix, because it isn't a fix at all. And I'm talking to you about the ramifications of illegal immigration. We've got to stop this nonsense. We see what's happening in Europe. We see what's happening in Europe. America will not be the same if we keep our borders open. This is insane. This is national suicide. And we have a dementia patient in the White House, that we have an administrative state, because we all know that he isn't running shop. I believe that Jill Biden has something to do with it. I believe that I can't prove this, but I do believe it. I do believe that Jill Biden is a bigger part of the Biden administration than we want to think. I'll get to the Hunter Biden trial in just a sec. You know, she was chilling at the Hunter Biden trial today. Oh, she's just a mom trying. No, I think these fools are trying to intimidate people. Look, the Biden family, they are mobsters. They are freaking mobsters. They're nobodies. They have nothing. So I think they'll go for the gusto to protect their name, to protect their wealth, to make sure they stay out of, jail themselves. I think the Biden family, I think they're just evil. I mean, look at their Hunter Biden is jacked up. Their daughter is jacked up. Yeah, Beau Biden that passed away, but his wife started dating Hunter Biden, smoking crack with him. I'll get into that in just a second. That family is jacked up. Anyway, think of the ramifications of Biden's border crisis. and the liar that fool is. I've already talked about assimilation and how illegal immigration will destroy your culture. Think about schools. You have a kid in school, or you're paying taxes, even if you don't, for a school nearby. I guarantee you. Now think about the kids that are going to have to compete for time with a teacher because of illegal immigrants. And I know it isn't the kid's fault, but I'm sorry, you got to go. You got to go. We can't handle this. No country can handle this. We're the only country dumb enough to keep our borders open. No other country does it. You understand that, right? No other country is dumb enough to leave their borders open. No other country is as generous as we are, even when it comes to legal immigration. All right? No other country is. You can't survive like that. I really believe there needs to be a moratorium. But think of the schools. Now your kids are struggling to learn. Now the teachers are overwhelmed. There's still some good teachers out there. They're going to be overwhelmed. Think about the crime when we talked about it briefly, but you're bringing people into the country that are not assimilated into the country, and they're coming from some countries where crime is just what they did. It was just a way of life, and then they're not assimilated, and you expect them to change. It's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, they're being rewarded. And then what about rent? Did you know that in places like New York, the hotels are much more expensive than they already were, simply because New York City is housing so many illegals? So obviously supply and demand, right, plays a factor. So the just to get a motel room, that's skyrocketing. But if illegals are being allowed to come into the country temporarily, legally, as they await their trials that they'll never show up for, they've got to have a place to stay. So maybe they get a job, maybe they rent. And then that's causing the rental market to soar, prices to soar. What about when they need health care? What are they going? They're going to go to the emergency room. So you're going to start paying taxes on that. This stuff has so many ramifications. It's absolutely insane. Did we play the second video already? Did we play that, Gabe? Let's go back to that video. I'm sorry. I was talking too much. Let's go back to that video.
Just how important is this immigration issue to American voters?
It's massively important, Jessica, massively important. So I just want to create sort of a timeline for you, a trend line of how different we are in the American electorate now versus where we were 4 years ago. So immigration is the nation's top problem. You know, last time around when Biden was facing off against Trump, just 1% of Americans said it was the top problem back in May of 2020. That ranked, get this, 15th on the list of most important problems, according to the American public. Look at where we are today in May of 2024. 18%. My goodness gracious, what a jump from May of 2020. 18% of Americans say that immigration or something within that realm is the nation's top problem. That ranks second. So a clear movement from 15th to second in terms of the nation's top problems. It's not much of a surprise, Jessica, that President Biden feels like he has to make a move on this right now.
All right, so he feels like he has to make a move, but he isn't making a move. He's just gaslighting you. He's just gaslighting you. This is insane. Let me just read you a couple of quick headlines. So you know that Biden signed the executive order. That's what we're talking about, to restrict crossings at the southern border. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's probably from Yahoo News. I got this column from Yahoo News. I started reading through it. They're making every excuse possible for the man. The AG Merrick Garland rejects calls to release Biden interview tapes. You guys may have heard this. I first read about it on AM Greatness from Eric Lindrum, so I had a tip to him. But basically, the Biden administration, I just want to share this bit of news. The Biden administration, the DOJ, and I'm sorry, I consider the DOJ part of the Biden administration because of their political persecutions against the former president. J6ers, where they've been over persecuted. Many of them, in my opinion, there was a 70-something-year-old grandmother just sentenced 2 years in jail. She went inside of the Capitol to pray. She's now spending 2 years in jail. Just insane. This stuff has to stop. This stuff has to stop. Just so Biden can win, just so a dementia patient can win. They are willing to wreck the country. The left, the Democrat Party are willing to wreck the rule of law just to maintain power. You should, I don't care if you're a Democrat, independent, you should be so fearful of that. So he rejects calls to release the Biden interview tapes. That is the interview with special counsel Robert Hur, who was looking into his document case. Now, keep in mind, Biden was not legally allowed to possess classified documents as vice president or as a senator, and he did both. All right. He had documents while he was collected documents that he shouldn't have had. Wrote a book on it, or had a ghostwriter write a book that he shared information with. All right, Trump at least was president, where he could claim, listen, I have presidential, I forget what it's called, immunity or authority. I can classify, I can declassify. Some of this stuff was my stuff, so on, etc. Biden didn't have that privilege. All right, so what was he doing? And so they don't want you to hear that interview, because I think it's so damning. For one, I think you realize that he's a dementia patient. And I think Robert Hur, as he said in his report, that he would basically prosecute the guy if he wasn't so senile. This guy has the nuclear codes, or at least Joe Biden does. Absolutely scary times. So those are just some of the headlines out there. Netanyahu, Biden is claiming is prolonging the Gaza war for political purposes. No, it's actually the opposite is true. Joe, the dumb behind Biden, should allow Netanyahu and the Israeli government and the IDF to do their thing. They should be able to completely destroy Hamas and then get on with life. That's what should be happening. Just completely destroy them. Let them annihilate Hamas and get on about their business. But instead, this guy, this fool that is responsible for the Afghanistan debacle, this fool that is in part responsible for the Russia-Ukraine war, if you ask me, China is on the march. You have these South American countries that are now starting to create ties with China right in our own backyard. That's Joe Biden's fault. And yet, for political purposes, for the sake of winning some Muslims in Michigan, he's willing to throw our ally out under the bus, even though he seems to be backing away on that right now. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. This stuff is just enough to make you crazy. All right, just recap real quick on this particular issue. I just want to remind you that Biden's executive order that's supposed to restrict illegal crossings at the southern border does the exact opposite. It codifies illegal immigration into law. When 2,500 illegal aliens cross the border between the ports of entry, if that number is 2,501, then there is a temporary stop. There's a temporary stop at the border, a temporary stop. This is insane. Again, that 2,500 number does not include the legal ports of entry, illegal aliens that are coming through the legal ports of entry. These are the people that are coming in between where they shouldn't be coming. This doesn't include the gotaways either. Lord knows how many illegal. I've heard estimates upwards of 15 million, and I believe that's closer to the truth. I've heard 8 million. I've heard 10 million. I believe the number is probably closer or between 10 and 15 million, just under the Biden administration. All right. So just anyway, so that's that. I do want to move on to something else before I do. What do we want to move on to? We got fascist Fauci. We got Hunter Biden. Let me go through the Hunter Biden saga real quick. Before I do that, guys, I do want to remind you that today's show in part is brought to you by MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell and MyPillow.com has been canceled on the shopping networks and all of that good stuff. But the good news is he's got a $25 extravaganza, a sale that he's extending to you through me. All right. So the box stores won't have them. The shopping channels won't have them. This is what the left is doing. They're playing dirty. We need to build a parallel economy. Mike Lindell is doing it. He's got American products, American jobs, $25 extravaganza. The My Pillow slippers are right now. The sandals are $25. A 6-pack towel set, $25. Brand new 4-pack of dish towels are $25. For the first time ever, the premium My Pillows with the Giza fabric, they're $25. Orders over $75 are going to receive free shipping too. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, click on that radio podcast square. That is mypillow.com. Click on the radio podcast square and enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. Again, C-A-R-L. I don't spell it like the communists, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. That is 800-858-0263. Again, the promo code Carl. And again, let me just reiterate this as I close out this particular topic when it comes to the border. You are being replaced. It is not conspiracy theory. It is conspiracy fact. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're Latino, if you're a white, working class, male, female, right? You are being replaced. Biden is bringing in the reinforcements, illegal aliens that are going to be a permanent underclass so that they can retain power in Washington, D.C. They want more congressional seats. That is all they're doing. They are trying to expand the Democrat Party. That's all they're doing. And they're destroying the country. They don't even realize that they'll be subject to their own bad policies. We got to get rid of this fool, and not just him. Please, guys, please don't just focus on the presidential election. Know your congressman, know your senator. If they're whack, I want you, if it's too late now, I want you to primary them in the future. All right. We need conservatives that really love America, that are going to stand up for America. As a matter of fact, 7 states are holding primaries as of today. I didn't even realize that. It's so crazy, including New Jersey, Montana. So several states that are holding primaries today. Anyway, you'll be able to check out your local news, whatever, and check those out. All right, let me move on real quick. Let me just go to Hunter Biden real quick. Let me give you a short synopsis of what's going on with the Hunter Biden trial. So I guess we're in the second day of the trial. Man, time moves so quickly because they literally got the jury together relatively quickly. So I'm just going to give you some takeaways from Breitbart. And let me just say from the beginning, I'm going to just shoot straight with you. I don't believe anything is happening to Hunter Biden. I believe in part that's why Jill Biden is in the courtroom. First off, you're in Delaware. All right. The Bidens run, whether you like it or not, the Bidens ran Delaware. All right. Joe, it's a small state. Joe Biden was a senator there, did a lot of business there, did a lot of, I did a lot of things with banks and lending and all this kind of stuff there that made the place good for business, including for himself. And a lot of people just looked at the Bidens as they were untouchable in the state of Delaware. So I have a hard time believing that you're going to find jurors that are going to find Hunter Biden guilty. I also want to say this. Let me say this, because I am pretty much a Second Amendment purist. I'm one of these people that believe that if you get out of jail and it wasn't a violent crime, and I mean a violent crime where you physically, with evidence, assaulted somebody, a violent crime, in other words, all right, I believe that you should have your gun rights restored. I believe that's how important the Second Amendment is. But these are the laws that were made in Delaware. And so Hunter Biden apparently threw a gun away. So here's what it says. Hallie Biden, the ex of Hunter Biden and the widow of his brother, Beau Biden, all right, will testify today about her use of crack with Hunter. Prosecutor Derek Hines said during Tuesday's opening statements of the trial. So Hallie is 50, or I don't know how you pronounce her name, if it's Hallie or Haley. She dated Hunter in 2018. She found a Colt Cobra 38 handgun. I guess that's a snub nose. It's a little pocket pistol, basically, in Hunter Biden's truck outside of her home. According to prosecutors, Hallie dumped the gun in a nearby grocery store trash bin. This, according to the prosecutors, Hunter used crack when he purchased the firearm. Apparently, the evidence now. All right, so the Hunter Biden, the laptop from hell that Miranda Devine wrote about, that laptop. So now it's part of the evidence. that the DOJ is using against Hunter Biden. You know, the Hunter Biden laptop. How many intelligence officials, was it 21? Was it 51? That said, the laptop from hell was this Russia collusion hoax, and all this kind of stuff. Well, no, now the now the DOJ is using it as evidence against Hunter Biden. I mean, Trump could literally be sitting in office, preparing to leave office, as opposed to hopefully heading back into office. But this story is so crazy, man. You have Beau Biden. Just think about this. You've got Beau Biden's ex-wife hooking up after he passes, I hope, hooking up with his crackhead brother, smoking crack with Hunter Biden. You have to wonder if Beau was really this guy that Joe Biden pretends that he was. Listen, I don't want to kick a dead man when he's down, but if your ex-wife or your wife, your widow, smoking crack with your brother, that doesn't necessarily bode well for Beau, does it? I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, the prosecutor said that Halley's testimony would be embarrassing but necessary. The prosecution intends to call several additional witnesses, including Gordon Cleveland, who sold the gun to Hunter Biden at StarQuest Shooters. All right, guys, let me tell you something that's going to happen. Nobody else is going to say this. But I understand the left, not quite as good as Rush Limbaugh, but I'm starting to understand the left and who they are. Right? They're a bunch of cummies. They're going to find a way. Mark my words. They are going to find a way to blame the gun shop, to blame gun stores. Hunter Biden is always going to be a victim. All right, you got to understand that. Listen, I'm one of these people. I told you I'm kind of torn because I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I don't believe, since they created these laws, right, where if you sign this form and you lie on that federal form that you're not using drugs, you're not a felon, at the time of purchasing a gun, all this kind of stuff. They do background checks, so on, etc. But drug addiction, they don't know unless you've been arrested. They don't know, right? So these are the charges. As a matter of fact, there are 3 charges. Where are they at? All right. The 3 charges against Hunter, concerning his possession for 11 days. Man, I'm sorry. I just lost them. I'm sorry. I was looking at the 3 charges. Now I just lost them. Okay. Man, I'm sorry. I just lost the charges. But I'll find them. I literally forgot where I was at, but this is live. So anyway, I'll just roll with it. But Hines, as a prosecutor, revealed that Hallie Biden and Zoe Keston, a woman who was romantically involved with Hunter, will be testifying under immunity agreements. The prosecution will also call Kathleen Buell, the ex-wife of Hunter Biden, who shares 3 children, 3 daughters with him, who did not use drugs herself. Kathleen will not be testifying under any immunity agreement. Laying out the 3 charges against Hunter, Hines emphasized that on the 3rd count concerning his possession of the gun for 11 days, Hunter did not get rid of the gun by choice. The only reason he had the gun for 11 days is because Hallie took it from him, he said. Now, there are rappers that came out, I forget the name of the rappers, that said, listen, under this gun crime, I served 2 years, I served 3 years, I served a year behind bars. If Hunter Biden gets anything, I will be shocked. And even if he does, I believe that Joe Biden will pardon him. No, that wasn't a slip of the tongue. I think Joe Biden will pardon him. Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing, guys. He's a dementia patient. He knows to go to a teleprompter. He can still read a teleprompter. All right. Not as good as he used to, but he can still read a teleprompter. But that fool isn't doing anything but eating snacks and ice cream and pooping his pants when he goes behind the scenes. All right, so just a quick rundown. 9 takeaways, if you will, from this, and then we will move on to Fascist Fauci to close out the show. We've got some audio and some video that I want to share with you when it comes to Fascist Fauci. But here are 9 takeaways from, according to Breitbart, from the first days of Hunter Biden's gun trial. All right. So again, the defense is going to try to convince the jury that Hunter did not knowingly commit wrongdoing, as prosecutors say, in order to frame Hunter as a victim of drug addiction. When you commit a crime and you don't knowingly do it, does it matter? No, it doesn't. Guys, I got to tell you today, I'm just going to be open with you. So I got pulled over today. All right. Got pulled over and I ran through a stop sign, even though I'll be honest with you, I wasn't even like, there was a car in front of me that stopped. I thought I stopped. The cop said I rolled through. I just rolled with it. You know, I'm not going to sit there and argue or whatever, but I thought I stopped, but you know, my mind was just kind of like, you know, just in zoom mode. So, so you know what? Did I knowingly run the stop sign? No, I didn't. But apparently there was enough evidence. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. If I was in the wrong, I'm in the wrong. It doesn't matter. And the same is true here. And they want to paint Hunter Biden as a victim. And I do believe that Hunter Biden is a victim. I believe he's a victim in this sense. I believe he's the son of Joe Biden and that he's paid a heavy price for it. You got a dad that was showering with his daughter, with his teenage daughter. You have, you listen to me, man. You got a daughter that's a sex addict and jacked up on drugs. You've got a son that's a sex addict and jacked up on drugs. Joe Biden, Tara Reid. You know who Tara Reid is? The woman that claimed or alleged Joe Biden sexually assaulted her. She was getting so much stuff thrown at her from the left. She left the country. I believe she moved to Germany. Believe all women, unless it's against Joe Biden, right? Let me tell you something, man. I think Joe Biden is a disgusting human being, and I think he's proving it during his presidency. Even though he has dementia, when he has glimpses, when he's lucid at times, the guy is just a punk. He's a nobody. And I don't say that to just be nasty and mean. I say that because he truly is. That's the problem. This guy has been in Washington, D.C. for a half century, and he's a nobody. He never accomplished anything except winning an election and keeping his seat and being a BSer throughout his entire career. So now the defense is going to try to convince the jury that Hunter did not knowingly commit wrong. Who cares? The defensive strategy might be to obtain jury nullification. All right. For those of you that may not know jury nullification, that is to argue that basically the law itself is unjust. So if you get one juror that says, hey, man, I believe this law is unjust, I don't think he should be charged. And as a person, I struggle with it. You know, I don't believe that there should be. I don't believe that you should have to fill out a federal form to obtain a firearm. I really don't. But I understand there's states' rights, there's states' issues, there's state laws. And if the state says, listen, if you're a druggie, you should fill out a form. We need to know. And I understand that, right? I'm not crazy. If you're on drugs, I understand that. You can hurt somebody. I get it. I get it. But I am one of these people that believe in general, Americans should be allowed to own firearms. As a matter of fact, I think we could cut out some of our military and just do like Singapore. Hey, every one of you fools, I think it's Singapore, every one of you fools own a rifle, you know, something to that effect. All right. The DOJ will frame their prosecution, number 3, as no one is above the law and that it doesn't matter who you are or what your name is. Now, Joe Biden might have something to say about that. Now, remember, with the Trump conviction over the non-disclosure agreement, and I know you guys have talked about that or heard about that incessantly. I'll get into that a little bit more or into that tomorrow. I'm going to connect the dots. So I look forward to that. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure that we talked about some of these other issues. But it's funny because Joe Biden said that, hey, Trump isn't above the law, even though they made up some law or resurrected some obscure law to try to flip Trump on from a misdemeanor to 34 felonies, which is insane. So I wonder if Hunter Biden is going to be proven to be above the law. I suspect that he will be. I have no belief whatsoever that Hunter Biden is going to spend any time in jail. I hope he does. I honestly, I hope he does. And again, I say this as a person that's pretty much an absolutist with the Second Amendment. But listen, that's the state law. He broke the state law. That's a federal law. So Why not throw the book at him? He shouldn't be privileged. All right. The jury is split evenly. Number 4, between men and women, but all 3 alternates are women. Many of the jurors seated in the case said they have family members who experienced drug abuse. I believe 5 jurors said they have family members that experienced drug abuse. Good job by Biden's attorneys. I mean, Hunter Biden's attorney. I can't lie. You want somebody that's going to be sympathetic if that's the card you're going to play. The FBI confirmed Hunter's laptop is real. We talked about that. That's number 6. So remember, I said earlier, Trump could have been leaving office as opposed to hopefully returning to office because that Hunter Biden laptop story, hiding that from people. Remember, I believe it was 17,000 voters in an exit poll say, hey, man, I would have voted for Trump had I known that laptop was real. And that could have made the difference in swing states enough to pull Trump over the finish line in 2020, regardless of any shenanigans. Joe Biden reportedly intends to have a phone conversation with Hunter Biden every day during the trial because he's an enabler and he's used Hunter Biden over the years. Biden family members and associates will likely be in court every day where the jury can see them. Interesting. Hallie Biden, the ex of Hunter Biden and widow of his brother, that's number 9, will testify about her use of crack with Hunter. Melissa Cohen Biden, Hunter's wife, verbally assaulted a not-for-profit Marco Polo founder Garrett Ziegler amid proceedings. So here are the charges. So Hunter is charged with 1 count of false statement and the purchase of a firearm. He's also charged with 1 count of possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. And he's also charged with 1 count of false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal firearms license dealer. All right. So that dealer is going to come in and I'm sure testify that he lied to them. But I guarantee you what the left is going to do is make this a gun issue, why all guns need to go bye-bye, while gun store owners need to go bye-bye. And the Biden administration is doing that. All right. Let's close with Fascist Fauci. So Fascist Fauci has been on the hot seat. I got several videos that we're going to play for you. And I just want to remind you of the lifestyle that Fascist Fauci heaped upon you. I believe that he duped Trump at the time. I believe that he duped that Deborah Birx duped Trump at the time and convinced him to shut down the entire economy. I think one of the dumbest, listen, I love Trump, but that's one of the dumbest political things you could ever do. It's the economy, stupid. Remember that saying. Don't ever believe the left, especially when they already came after you with a fake Russia collusion hoax, Ukraine freaking what do you call that? Good Lord. Now the name is escaping me. The impeachment, the quid pro quo when Joe Biden was on video giving a quid pro quo for financial assistance from the United States to Ukraine. If they didn't fire Victor Shokin, the prosecutor there that was looking into Hunter Biden's corruption, because they would have led back to Joe Biden. I mean, it's absolute. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. Guys, before I move on to the next topic, I just want to remind you of our friends at Wealth Protection Research. We've talked about Hunter Biden. We've talked about Biden's fake border fix, which isn't a fix whatsoever. It's only going to codify illegal immigration into law and make it even worse, as Trump mentioned earlier. But you better protect your wealth because these fools are trying to bankrupt you. Thank God for Wealth Protection Research. So at the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred. That is free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet in today's digital age and discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future, they're being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many of you feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where Wealth Protection Research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They're committed to giving a voice to the silence. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 election wealth protection report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act now. Text the word ideas, IDEAS, to 76626 to claim your free copy of the 2024 Election Protection Report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of your financial destinies. Text ideas to 76626. Plus, if you text the word ideas today, you'll also get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research, sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. Text the word ideas to 76626. And don't forget the $25 extravaganza from MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Carl. Take advantage of this $25 extravaganza. Mike Lindell has been kicked off of these shopping channels. He's been kicked out of some of these box stores. Well, he's bringing the savings right to you. American jobs, American manufacturing, $25 extravaganza, $25 sandals, $25 for the My Pillow with the Giza fabric, $25 for your dish towel set, $25 for your bath towel set, $25 extravaganza. MyPillow.com. Click on that radio podcast square. Enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. Also, guys, I'm going to ask you to like and please subscribe subscribe to the Carl Jackson Show. And also, please share this podcast with your friends, with your neighbors, with your family members leading up to the 2024 election. I believe that we are all in this fight together. I believe that the Biden administration and the Democrat Party, which are a bunch of communists, are an existential threat to the United States of America. We've got to fight back. We've got to take the country back. Speaking of communists, let's close this out with some Anthony Fauci stuff. Anthony Fauci has been grilled on the Hill. I believe that Anthony Fauci is a mass murderer. I believe that he deserves the death penalty. I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. I'm not saying that for clicks. This guy knowingly, listen, I got a stack. Where's it at? Is this my stack? I got a stack of stuff I've been saving for years when it comes to COVID. I want to show this to you. I've literally printed out, and I kept articles. I shouldn't even say. I'm not even sure if I should say this because I'm kind of scared the popo will come now. But I printed out articles so that I could make sure these fools would never lie to me again, and so they wouldn't get away with murder. And I believe that's exactly what happened. And guys, let me tell you something. I'm not one of the Johnny-come-latelys. I wrote an article as early as either late March or early April saying this is a freaking joke. Nobody's, the government telling us who's essential and who's not. Wait a minute. We're the one that hired you fools. How is it that you get to tell us that Sally that's going to work to feed her kid is not essential, but some government bureaucrat that we pay for, that Sally pays for, that fool is essential? Are you kidding me? That we're going to stop a coronavirus that we haven't been able to stop, like the common cold, but somehow we're going to be able to figure that out. I mean, this was just common sense. You didn't have to be a doctor to realize these fools were lying to you. You didn't have to be a doctor or some investigator or some savant of some sort to realize that you have the Russia collusion hoax, you have the Ukraine stuff, and now this. You didn't think the left would use COVID in order to try to gain power for themselves? Everything they told us was a lie. Everything. Man, I got so much stuff. CDC withholding coronavirus information over fears of misinterpretation. Rand Paul says this is 2021. Rand Paul says new Wuhan documents show Fauci lied. Back in 2021. Antifa member charged with shooting anti-vaxxer in Washington. Social Security will be insolvent by 2034 due to COVID-19 pandemic. Florida becomes first state to recommend against COVID vax for healthy kids. Kudos to Governor DeSantis. This is back in March of 2022. Fauci knew of COVID information being withheld by China in January 2020 report. And this fool is just lying. AM Greatness, COVID vaccine bombshells you probably missed. Funeral directors and embalmers alarmed by freakishly large blood clots, clogging veins, and vaccines. We weren't not allowed to talk about this. The Atlantic, COVID-19 is over if you're rich. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Social distancing, 6 feet. Masking. Kids being kicked out of school because they are being told they couldn't go to school. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable what this fool was allowed to do. Let's go ahead and roll the videos, Gabe. Just roll them in any order. I'll respond to them. We'll go back to back to back.
To live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it. I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use
this is a doctor that's now a congressman that actually practiced medicine.
Protected legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and that's not what I was referring to.
Well,
that's not what I was
in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working. I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this. Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological bullshit got in the way of her working, of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you. Dr. Fauci, you've become Dr. Fear. Americans do not hate science. I don't hate science. The American people hate having their freedoms taken from them. You inspired and created fear through mask mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institutions.
Look at him, man.
This fear,
this guy just looks soulless. He just looks soulless.
Will continue to have ripple effects over generations to come. You have already seen its effects in education, in the economy, and everything else. Quite frankly, you said, if you disagree with me, you disagree with science. Dr. Fauci, I disagree with you because I disagree with fear. And with that, I yield.
All right, so that was a doctor. All right, this guy was a doctor who he mentions in a earlier, I believe, in his testimony how he was basically bullied. I'm using different words, but I'm paraphrasing here. But he was basically bullied as a doctor for wanting to give his patients the type of care that was not being advised by Dr. Fauci and the bureaucrats, and he knew better. Just common sense. And he questioned Fauci because he asked him, did you actually have contact with patients? Or were you guys just reading stuff, but not on the ground, seeing the effects of your policies? He caught him. These are more recent headlines. We now know the likely truth about COVID and how scientists lied. COVID is naturally occurring, and that's a lie. The virus didn't come from the Wuhan lab. That's a lie. The U.S. didn't fund gain of function. We know that's we know that's a lie. Daily Mail bombshell messages reveal Anthony Fauci's top advisor bragging about making emails disappear. That was Dr. David Morenz, who who tried to cover his butt as much as possible last week. These guys are guilty of crimes against humanity. NIH officially finally admits taxpayers funded gain of function research. These are recent headlines. Let's roll the next video. This stuff just makes me so mad. I can't believe that Americans will let this pass. All of this stuff works in tandem. What they're doing to Trump now with the persecutions. I believe what they did with COVID. All of this is to retain the left, the Democrat Party, to retain power for themselves. Guys, this is not the regular your old school Democrat Party. These are communists. These are communists that will take power, that will do whatever it takes to attain power, including locking down a freaking nation. Just crazy. Next video, por favor, Gabe.
No, absolutely not. I mean, everything I said is correct. It's how the American people feel. It's what we know to be a fact. It's all the evidence has been proven true. We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump, worshiping as a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the fucking country over George Floyd. And Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. And then they're sitting there, they can attack my character all day long. What's his face in there? Whoever was talking last was calling me insane. But yet we can't say, oh, they're attacking my character. Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why? The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people feel.
She's right. She's right. That's exactly how I feel. He should be tried for mass murder. I don't say that lightly. He should be tried for mass murder. He knew he was lying. The emails proved that he was lying. Emails proved that he was trying to cover his butt. Everything that you were told, you are non-essential, but the bureaucrats are essential. You should wear a mask. Then he's out at some baseball game or whatever, not wearing one, and then he's seen, and then he puts one on, and all this kind of nonsense. 6 foot of distance, just making crap up out of thin air, destroying other doctors' lives and their careers. What an evil little dictator. I have no mercy on him. None. I'm sorry. I'm done with it. That guy, he's non-repentant, or he's unrepentant. I'm done with him. Are there any more, Gabe, or we'll close this thing out? Again, I'm going to ask you guys to like, subscribe. Okay, we'll run through them real quick. Like and subscribe to the Carl Jackson Show. Please follow us on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Getter. Wherever I am on social media at The Carl Jackson Show is where you can go to find me. Por favor. All right, let's go ahead and run through the last couple of videos, and we'll close it out. Again, like, subscribe to The Carl Jackson Show. Follow us on all things social media. Also, you can check out our T-shirts and the link below. For those of you that may want to just go straight there, carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com. We've got a promise T-shirt that are sure to make the lefties in the LGBTQ community a little hot right now. But it is based on the covenant from the Bible. So you can check that out. Also, skin ain't sin, meaning you shouldn't judge people by the color of their skin, but rather by the content of their character. So skin ain't sin, and love guns, hate tyranny. All right. I love the Second Amendment. All right. Blacks weren't allowed to own guns during the Reconstruction era. Why would I be against the Second Amendment? Dumbest thing ever. Makes no sense for blacks to be against the Second Amendment. All right, let's run the last couple of two. Por favor, Gabe, and we'll close it out.
Prior to that call, would have been on the call.
Well, the call was arranged by Jeremy Farrar. You should ask him.
Okay. Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
I'm sorry. What was?
Did U.S. tax dollars flow through a grant recipient to the lab in China?
Yes, of course. It was a sub-award to the Wuhan Institute.
And who approved that award?
Excuse me?
And who approved that award? What agency approved that award?
National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
Your agency approved that, right?
Yes, it did after.
Did that have anything to do with this downplaying of the lab leak theory?
No.
Nothing to do with it?
Nothing.
What?
The guy's just a liar. Just a bold-faced lie. And of course, he's covering his butt. He was feeling all comfortable and smug. You guys remember after Joe Biden was placed in the White House? You guys remember how smug and bold this guy got? He was on every mainstream media outlet. They were interviewing him all the time. And then when he became a liability, he started to slowly but surely disappear. Right before the midterms, people start getting nervous. Right? Oh, man, this guy may cost us the election, may cost us the midterms. Let's kind of sweep this guy. But he was everywhere. You could not go anywhere or watch any news outlet without hearing Fauci. I mean, it was absolutely insane. Guy claimed to be science. Was that the last one, Gabe? All right, so here's the last one.
There have been everything from harassments by emails, texts, letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals. And credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me. And it's required my having protective services essentially all the time. It is very troublesome to me. It is much more troublesome because they've involved my wife and my 3 daughters.
At these moments, how do you feel? Keep your mic on.
Terrible.
Do you continue to receive threats today?
Yes, I do. Every time someone gets up and says I'm responsible for the death of people throughout the world.
Oh, shut up.
The death threats go up.
I'm sorry. All right, you can cut it. Listen, I don't wish anything bad on his family. All right, I don't believe that people should be issuing death threats to him. That's evil. That's wrong. I believe God will judge those people for that, and they're absolutely stupid. That should never happen. But I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for this guy because he lied. He damaged lives. People died, millions, because of this fool. I have never. Let me just say, I'm just being real. I have never had the type of animosity that I recall for a person that I have for Fauci and that I have for Joe Biden. I believe God can save anyone, right? He can change anyone's heart. These guys have shown no sign that they're willing to be repentant. I believe they should suffer the consequences of their crimes. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show. Tomorrow there's going to be a podcast put up. We'll do a live. We'll actually tape another interview with an interview with Anthony Sabatini, congressional candidate Anthony Sabatini. We're going to be talking about lawfare and how it's time for the Republican Party. It's time for Republicans to go after Democrats. And I'm not saying go after Democrats tit for tat. I've heard some conservatives saying, oh, we shouldn't go after Democrats. No, that's not what I'm talking about. If Democrats commit a crime, politicians prosecute them for the crime. The non-disclosure agreements, people that have committed sexual assault or whatever, got in any trouble, and why shouldn't we know about that? If Democrats have committed crimes, they should be held accountable for those crimes. They shouldn't get away with it. And we got to stop messing around. Bunch of Republicans. Oh no, we don't want to go tit for tat. Oh no, we're gonna we're gonna flip the rule of law upside down. It's already upside down, fool. You're too late. You're too freaking late. Good God, man. So tired of this, man. People just don't know. Sometimes when people, maybe it's because of where I grew up and how I grew up. Sometimes people just don't know when they're being punked. I guess. People just don't know what a real fight is. We're in a real fight for America right now. And I'm not suggesting, and I'm tired of other conservatives that say so. I'm not suggesting that you go after Democrats and jail them for no reason. But if a Democrat politician has committed a crime, stop giving them the benefit of the doubt, prosecute them. All of the people that are responsible for this Trump hoax, the Alvin Braggs of the world, the Judge Merchan of the world, did they do something that was criminal? Did they do so? You guys know this, the sham trial, the hush money trial, making up law unprecedented as they go. If there's a way for those guys to be disbarred and never get to practice law, be on the bench for Judge Merchan again, it should happen. It should happen. All right, guys, listen, again, check us out, all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. Like, subscribe, share, por favor. Until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.